Hey folks, Will here again with Happily Ever Outdoors, and as you can see, we are getting ready for the big move. So keep watching. Alright folks, so today is January 15th, 2019. As you can see, we are just about packed up. The house is pretty much ready to go. The Packers came yesterday, packed up the majority of our stuff. Once the truck driver gets here tomorrow, they're gonna go ahead and finish up everything with like the furniture and all that. But everything is just about ready to go. We've got just a little while here before we hit the road. We're gonna be hitting the road on the 26th of this month. So next week we're gonna do our final inspection with base housing. We're gonna get cleared out. We just moved in yesterday with some friends of ours who live in the same neighborhood just up the street, but I am back over here yesterday to deal with all the little last minute stuff. There was a few things that the movers missed, so we've got to grab those, get them packed up. There's also some other stuff we got to deal with because they're not going to take any like cleaners, chemicals, anything like that, so we've got to figure out what we're going to do with that, if there's stuff that we're just going to get rid of, or if we're going to try to take it with us on the road. Like I said in one of my previous videos, the big plane here, we're going to be making a long road trip. I've got a car trailer rental lined up, so I'm going to be taking my pickup truck and hauling my wife's small SUV, and we're going to be making the drive all the way up to Washington. So should definitely be interesting. I feel like we did a pretty good job planning the route out though, taking a little bit of a long way around, heading south first, just so we can avoid the worst of the weather with it being that time of year. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff that's got to get done today though. I've got to finish clearing out the refrigerator so we can clean that. The stove still needs a little bit of work too. I scrubbed that thing down yesterday. We went to replace the rings and found out the rings that we had unfortunately weren't the right size. They're a little too deep, so they wouldn't fit in there, so we've got to track down the right size rings and probably throw a can of oven cleaner in there just to get a couple of nasty spots. But the fridge will definitely be a little bit of work, and again getting all the odds and ends packed up and ready to go, because the driver is supposed to be here first thing tomorrow morning, and they'll be ready to hit it hard and get that thing loaded up and get out on the road. So we want to make sure we've got everything set and ready to go for those guys. But stay tuned in, guys. It's going to be a pretty interesting ride. We are glad to have you along for the journey. Alright guys, so it is now Wednesday, January 16th, and we are at the house just waiting for the movers to show up. My wife just got the call from the gate to confirm to let them in on base maybe 10 minutes ago, so they should be here before we know it. Alright guys, looks like this is them. Alright guys, so the movers are almost completely done. Everything is basically out of the house at this point. There's a few things that stay behind that we're going to get rid of, sell, that kind of stuff. But I went through while they were finishing up, vacuumed all the bedrooms and all that good stuff. Of course, we've still got a little bit of a deep scrub to do to finish up on the rest of the house before we can turn this place back into housing, but we're almost there. That's the last of it. All right, guys, we signed all the paperwork. We got our pink slips, so we are good to go. All right, guys, so I'm just doing a quick walkthrough, making sure the lights are turned off, and then I've got to run because I got to try to get to my unit. We got a couple hours left before the end of the workday, and try to get a little bit of my out processing done. Unfortunately, we're in that like crunch time where no matter how prepared you are, like that last week and a half, seems like you're just multitasking like crazy, running all around trying to get everything closed out on my life on this side and getting everything started up on my life and my family's life on the other side. So at any rate, I better run, get to it, but keep watching. Hey folks, so it is Thursday morning, 17 January. I just pulled into my work and it's a weird feeling this morning. This is basically going to be my last day working here. The movers got done yesterday, so I went into my work for a little bit, got started on some of my paperwork. But today I'm pretty much doing my final out processing. I'm going to be turning in my computer, I'm going to be pulling my network access and checking all my paperwork, making sure I'm good to go, and then after that I'm literally turning my building access card into the building manager, and then I basically no longer work here. So I've been excited for this day to come. I mean, I'm really excited about the next chapter in our lives, but you know, it's also, there's a little bit of sadness to it, I guess. You know, I've kind of put my heart and soul into this place, so to speak, for the last almost 3 years, just short of 3 years, and you know, just like that, in one day, you're gone and you're off. I'm sure if there's anybody who's watching who's served in the military, you kind of get what that's like coming off of active duty, or maybe you've retired or coming back from a deployment, something like that, or maybe you've just worked at a job you know, for a lot of years that you really enjoyed, and you know, whenever you leave, you've always got those kind of weird mixed feelings, but it is what it is, you know. I got to get in because I got to get started today, because we're running into, there's actually a 4-day holiday weekend for the military this weekend, so I've got to get all of this done, so I'm out processed from my unit so that I can out process with installation next week and be good to go before my leave starts on the 26th and we hit the road. Alright guys, so it's the end of the day. I actually just pulled up at the house, not our house because we're moved out, but our friend's house. But it was a pretty productive day. I got everything done that I needed to do to out process my unit. It was kind of weird, end of the day, handing over my building access card, and then I went over to see the lady down the street who's going to out process me from the installation itself, and realized I was missing a piece of paperwork she needed, so I actually had to go back to the building and call my supervisor to let me back in the building. So it's really weird feeling to know I'm like kind of officially checked out, at least from my unit. Just a few more things to do next week to get us really ready to go, but pretty productive day. Everything I need to get done is done, and now we can kind of enjoy a little bit of a 4-day weekend with my family and with our friends before we really get back to it hard next week to get everything ready to hit the road. Alright folks, so it is Friday, January 18th. As you can see, we got a little bit of snow overnight, but we're getting ready to head down the road to the house to finish up the last little bit of cleaning, spot touch up on the paint, and cleaning the carpets. So weather's not the greatest today, but still got to get it done. So let's get to it. guys, I think we're looking pretty good. We've got the replacement blinds laid out for the ones that are damaged. They said they'd rather us do that than try to put them up ourselves. Everything is cleaned up. Just got done cleaning the carpets. So we were going through, doing our last quick walkthrough, checking. We missed a few little outlet covers, child safety deals, making sure all the closets are opened up so that they can air out. Got all the fans running to make sure that carpet dries completely. And we remembered there's some little child safety door sensor deals that I've got to take off real quick before we leave. But other than that, we are about all set. It's definitely been a process, not gonna lie. I'm glad that we're basically done, and then sometime next week they'll come and do the final inspection. Hopefully everything looks good according to them, and we won't end up owing anything. But yeah. All right, folks, that's it. We haven't officially turned it over yet, but it's kind of that point now where it really doesn't feel like our house, you know? It's a weird feeling. All right, folks, so it is Monday morning, January 21st, Martin Luther King Day, and I am in the back of my truck trying to kind of get things situated for a road trip, kind of like the dry run. We've got a lot of Rubbermaid containers and coolers. As you guys can see, I recently redid all of the seals on my camper to make sure those were good, my camper shell, so that they're hopefully not leaking, but still don't want to take any chances, especially this time of year, having bad weather, traveling on the highway and all that. So we got containers for anything that could possibly get damaged by getting wet, you know, plus have to have everything nice and neat and contained. So this isn't all of them. We've got a couple of these big guys that I had at the house. We also have one long skinny one that's in our friend's house right now that's holding all of our clothes. The idea I think we're going to go with is to basically pack all of our clothes by day rather than you know, by each individual person. So it'll all be each day of the road trip we'll have a bag basically that we can grab out and take with us into the hotel, so that everybody can get changed, bring down the dirty clothes, and we'll have a place for that to go. I think that'll go a little bit faster. Of course, we got a big cooler too, nice long one, so we'll be able to take some food, some drinks, some extra water, and all that stuff with us, help us to keep us from stopping as much. We'll also have some dry food and snacks and good stuff like that on reserve, so I'm sure we'll make a trip to the store like the day before we hit the road. You can see inside my camper, I've added some custom little tap lights. They're not very bright right now, but they are LED. I've got 4 of them in the corners, the front and the back corners. And that actually makes a really big difference of being able to see back here, since I don't have any lights wired into my truck for the inside of this camper. So that'll definitely be helpful, especially since some nights we'll be getting in you know, late, like after dark. So we've got a bucket with our all of our automotive stuff, extra fluid, the defroster fluid, you know, to spray on your glass to help get the frost, paper towels, rags, a bunch of other stuff like that. We've also got a go bag or a bug out bag, whatever you want to call it, that I've always kept in my truck. We'll still have that with us, as well as, of course, your normal roadside emergency type stuff, jumper cables, you know, signal panels and stuff if you get broken down, so people can see you, all that good stuff. So we've definitely got to keep everything really neat and organized, because we've got 5 people who are going to be riding in my truck, plus we're going to be pulling my wife's vehicle on a car trailer, and that's going to be it. We can put a little bit of stuff in my wife's car, but not a lot, because they really don't want you adding a bunch of extra weight to a vehicle that's up on a trailer, and it's not a good idea anyways, because if you get too top heavy, then it's going to make it
really tipsy, especially sometimes Midwest and all that. You get really, really windy areas, and that's just not a good place to be. Your trailer starts doing crazy stuff. But some of our really light stuff, we'll probably drop the seats down in her car so that we can go ahead and stuff some of that in there, like our extra sleeping bags and everything, because we don't really plan to use those. They are just there on reserve. A few other things like that. I'm doing my very, very best to keep everything neat and organized and minimal back here, because I really don't want to stack above the level of the canopy. I would prefer to keep the windows and everything open up so that I have really good visibility on the road. I think that'd be a lot safer. So hopefully we can do that. We can fit everything and kind of keep it to where it's not blocking my visibility at all. Of course, the main reason for doing this today rather than this Saturday is to get a good feel of how everything is gonna fit in here, and to figure out if I need to make any other trip to Home Depot or Lowe's to get some more containers, which I think I'll need at least one. But this allows you to really kind of to see and visualize everything exactly how it's going to work out. So hopefully we won't have any surprises, you know, the day before, and we're trying to get packed up and everything, because we're going to be leaving dark and early Saturday morning. We've got a long stretch of road to begin with. I planned the longer days in the beginning, so hopefully we can knock those out and then be able to relax a little bit more as the trip goes on. So you don't want to wait till the last minute with this stuff. Better to be prepared, have it done ahead of time, and you'll have a lot less stress and a lot less headache in the long run. So at any rate, I better run. It is super freezing cold out here. The wind has really picked up. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but last night, as of making this video, we had the, what do they call it, the super wolf blood moon, something like that. So we were standing outside freezing, watching that for a little bit last night. That was pretty cool. But now we've just got this nasty cold weather. So I'm going to get going so I can finish up doing what I'm doing here, make a list if I need to get anything, and see if I maybe can make a trip to Home Depot later today since I'm off for the holiday. Alright folks, so it is Tuesday morning, January 22nd. As you can see, the sun is out. It's bright this morning. It's definitely warmed up a little bit from yesterday. I am sitting outside what we like to call the finance building. Hopefully today I have an appointment in just about 30 minutes here to sit down and do my final paperwork so I can get out processed from the installation, and they're gonna send me over to finance, which is also in the same building here, and go ahead and get that piece done, get my good old DD-214, and then I will be all set and ready to go paperwork wise until I sign out for leave from my unit before I head out on the 26th. I never made it to, I know I talked about going to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever yesterday, never quite made it. Some other stuff came up, and I kind of partially didn't really feel like getting out in the cold, to be honest, but it's alright. We'll make a quick run another one of these days, maybe the same day we go to Walmart to pick up some groceries or whatever. I know I mentioned about going to Home Depot or Lowe's yesterday, but ended up never happening. A bunch of other stuff came up, so we'll probably end up maybe later this week, the same day we go to the grocery store to make a run to get snacks and stuff. We'll go ahead and head over and get that done too. But really right now it's that last minute crunch. Let me tell you, between the Army side of things, the last little bit of paperwork and things like that you realize you need to get done, to getting everything in order on the other end for us to arrive, school for the kids, all that stuff, along with just the actual logistics of the trip itself. It's definitely been a lot for sure. Thankfully, we thought ahead. We really got a lot of stuff done ahead of time, but you know, I think no matter how well you plan, there's always that last minute crunch, that last few days. You got to realize today is Tuesday, and we'll be hitting the road by Saturday, so it is going to be here before we know it. But we're really excited. I can't take too much longer here on the video because I got to get in here and get to my appointment, but you guys keep watching. Alright folks, so it is Wednesday morning, January 23rd. We are back over at the house. Me and Melissa just got done real quick. I'm just doing a spot check. We noticed a few little spots on the light switches and things like that, so we're cleaning it up, making sure all the counters are wiped down and everything, and we are just waiting for the inspector to get here so we can do the final inspection. Again, we're not expecting anything crazy.
we did our best to really get this place squared away before we moved out. So hopefully everything is all good. We were able to get some stuff accomplished yesterday, got our tax return submitted, so that's good. Hopefully that'll come pretty quick. Able to get a lot of paperwork done. So once we're done with this, we're gonna probably make that run to Home Depot we've been putting off, get the last few things we need. We gotta stop by the pet store to make sure we got what we need to keep our pets squared away. And my truck is actually currently sitting getting the oil change too, very important. It was about due for one anyways, and especially since we're getting ready to put a couple thousand miles on it, we're gonna go ahead and get that done, and then we'll probably go ahead and just do another oil change when we get to the other side, just to make sure it's all fresh and taken care of. So hopefully he'll be here before too long. They give us a window between 10:15 and 12:15, so hopefully it'll be closer to 10:15 and we can get out of here and get on with the rest of the day. Well, folks, we just got done with the final inspection and we were charged exactly $0 in damages. So I guess we did it right, got it all straight, so that's good. And we'll actually be getting a little bit back because we moved out mid-month, so that's cool. We'll actually be getting paid a little bit, so yeah. All right, guys, so it's been another fairly productive day. We got everything done we set out to do. Inspection went great this morning. Got the stuff we need from the pet store. We went to Home Depot, got a couple more of the big black Husky containers so we can keep everything packed, organized, and good to go on the road. And those will definitely come in handy down the road too. Just getting the last little bit of junk cleared out of my wife's car. We found a few things that we missed at the house, hiding in the drawers and stuff. But tomorrow, bright and early, I've got a lunch with the folks from my work. A lot of folks are getting ready to go TDY out of town, so we had to do a breakfast. Normally you do a lunch for this kind of thing, but you got to throw that uniform on, go in. I think I'm supposed to be getting an award, and just kind of last chance to say goodbye to everybody. And before you know it, it'll be the weekend. We'll be hitting the road. We also got our last Bible study with our church tonight. It's Wednesday night, so it'll be the last time seeing those folks too. So kind of going through saying goodbyes to everybody this week, and then it's on to the next chapter. Alright folks, so it is Thursday morning, January 24th. We are getting ready to head out to my going away breakfast with my work. As you can see, it is a beautiful, not really rainy, cruddy day today, but I am more than happy to see some rain with all the freezing cold weather we've had. Hopefully, if the weather stays like this and doesn't come up with any snow or anything before the weekend, I will be grateful because this is no big deal to drive in. But let's get going, headed to this breakfast, say goodbye to the folks from my work, and then we'll go from there. Alright folks, here we are at the Vincenttown Diner. Now I know it doesn't look like much right now because they're in the process of remodeling, redoing the outside of the building, refacing it, all that good stuff. But this is a pretty good little place. Been here a few times. It's only about probably 10 minutes from the base once you actually get outside the gate. So yeah, they let me pick the place, and this is the one I picked. Ironically, they are under construction, but no big deal because everything is good to go on the inside. Alright folks, so it is the morning of Friday the 25th, and it is the last day to get everything ready. We have already been running around this morning around the house, kind of getting the last odds and ends put together. Same thing we were doing last night, finishing getting the truck loaded up, all of our boxes and everything. My wife and I are getting ready to run to the commissary to pick up a few things, groceries and all that good stuff, to get that packed up and ready because we're gonna be heading out first thing in the morning. We also are gonna be running to my work because I've got to sign out for leave. That's got to happen today in order for me to hit the road tomorrow morning. And we are also going to my youngest daughter. She's having like a going away party deal at her school, so we've got to do that too.
and we've got to pick up the U-Haul car trailer to haul my wife's vehicle. So a lot of stuff going on today. It's really that last minute, a little bit of a scramble, but everything is pretty much on track right now. I called the U-Haul place and confirmed, which I always do, thanks to a negative experience I had in the past, and they said they've got the trailer already. It's good to go whenever we want to come by and pick it up. And once we have that stuff done, the plan is just to hang out with our friends tonight. This is our last night, and so we're going to try to have a little bit of a good time, have dinner together, and then we'll be leaving bright and early. I'm thinking probably like 6:30 or so in the morning, just so we can get a good head start and make it to our first destination at a decent hour. So it's gonna be interesting. This is it, folks. And let me tell you, it has become really real. My wife and I have been talking. We were at my youngest daughter, her therapist, yesterday, and that was her last appointments with them. Again, my daughter, it's going to be her last day with her teachers at school, and with the special needs she has and everything, they're really more than just teachers and therapists. They're a huge part of her life. We have a lot to thank them for in all the progress she's made in the last few years and everything. So it's definitely, been trying to kind of hold back the emotions a little bit, focus on getting everything done, but it's definitely getting hard for my wife, that's for sure, and I mean, it's starting to catch up with me too. And of course, the biggest thing, is saying goodbye to our church family and our really close friends who we're staying with right now. It's not going to be easy. So I know tonight emotions are going to be running high. First thing in the morning, they're going to be running high too. We're really confident this is the right decision, and that makes it a lot easier, but it still doesn't make it easy. We've really kind of built a life here. I mean, the last 3 years of our life just about have been right here around these folks. And so starting over is never easy. It's never easy saying goodbye. But, we're going to get through it. It's part of life, right? But at this point, I am really, grateful for all the experiences we've had here, the people we know. But I'm ready to get on the road. I'm ready to get this thing going. Everything has really started to kind of work out and, line up exactly the way it needs to. And the last thing really is just to get that driving done so we can get over to the other side and start our, new life. And so it's going to be an adventure. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm happy to have you guys along with us for the ride. All right, guys. The first tank of gas of this road trip, about $60. Now I'm getting ready to head over. I think I'm going to meet my wife at the commissary so we can get some snacks and food and good stuff. Alright guys, so what a day, let me tell you. I don't even know if I can keep it all straight. So we got up this morning with all these really well laid out plans of everything that we were going to get done. We were going to go pick up the U-Haul trailer. I was going to go to my work, sign up for leave. We were going to go pick up food, groceries and all that good stuff to be ready for the road. We were going to go to our daughter's going away party at her school. And it was all going to work out perfectly, all going to work out fine. Until we went to the commissary. Well, the commissary went good, so we went to the commissary first and got our groceries and everything. Everything went fine there, got all loaded up. We were off to a great start. Then we went to the U-Haul place, and that is where things started to go sideways. So we were just renting an auto hauler. Again, too easy. So the auto haulers are parked on a lot across the street from like the shop that was running the U-Haul stuff. And they took my truck over there, or I took it over there. The guy hooked it up. I let him hook everything up himself. I don't mess with any of that stuff because that way I know, in theory, that it's done right. So he hooked it up to my truck. He has me pull it across the street to the other parking lot where my wife is parked in her SUV, and he tells her to go ahead and pull the SUV up onto the trailer. And as soon as she starts doing that, the trailer comes unhitched from the hitch of my truck, kicks up about 3 foot in the air, and goes straight into the tailgate of my truck. Just about the worst, most horrifying thing you could expect to happen in this situation. Took a big chunk out of my tailgate and put a bigger dent and a littler dent inside of that to go along with it. So not too happy about that. Then, by the time they get the trailer actually hooked up to my truck, they realize the hitch on there I have is too low. It's not so low that it won't ride like that, but the concern is, especially with the distance we're going, you hit any low spots or anything, and that thing's gonna bottom out, and you might have problems. So, too easy. All we gotta do is swap out the hitch. And I have a locking pin on my hitch. Guess where the key is for that locking hitch? I don't know where it is. I was hoping you could tell me. We searched, we tore the house apart, we went on a rampage, digging through coats and everything we could. No idea where they went. So who knows? So they ended up having to take a grinder and chop the thing off. Told them just chop it, just chunk it. And I had another just regular pin to throw in there. And we were able to, I had another straight hitch. And so we actually just put that straight hitch on there. It brought the tongue up where you want it to be. And we are all good to go. Almost forgot to mention, we get my wife's car up on the trailer and her tire is just about half flat. So yeah, at least it's on the trailer though, and we can just hit the road and deal with it later. So we get all that done, and we realize we're about to miss our daughter's party at her school. So of course we just go straight shot, let's get out to the school. And we get there and the kids are having a fun little party. They've got a little, what was it, soap or shaving cream? Shaving cream on a mat, so they're skiing, slipping and sliding around, having a good time. I'm there for about 5 minutes, and I realize, oh wait, I never went to my unit to sign out for leave. And it is after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was supposed to meet the lady at 1, so I call her up, apologize, explain to her a little bit about what happened, and then I just got distracted and forgot. I managed to get back in there, and the Army is a funny thing, by the way, when it comes to signing out for leave, because literally all they want you to do, like today, I just had to show up in uniform. Hey, I'm here. Cool, thanks for showing up. Here is your leave form. Have a nice life. And that was it. But they want you to show up. It's just the way it is. That way they know you didn't already take off, I guess, and hit the road. And, you know, it's just the Army way. So we got that done, turned around, went back to the school, drove back to the school to get my wife, of course, because she didn't have a vehicle, because her vehicle is right back there. Can you see it? Yeah, so, but we got all that done, and it sounds like it was a really good time. I missed most of it, but we got a chance to say thank you to her teachers and her aides. Everybody started getting all mushy-gushy and lovey-dovey, just like I expected it to be. But all joking aside, we really, really appreciate everything that her teachers and the aides and everyone in the school system and the therapists and everybody, what they have done for her, because the progress she has made in the last few years, our youngest daughter, Naomi, it's amazing. When I look back, there's days where it's tough, but then you look back and you realize where she's come from, and it's really, really awesome. And we owe a lot of that to them and all the hard work and the passion they put into what they do. So if any of you are watching, thank you very much for that. So now that we got all that done, we're finally going to get back to the house, our friend's house. We've got all the groceries still floating around in the back, other than the stuff that wouldn't keep. So they're still in the back of my truck, not even put away yet. Got to try to get the rest of that stuff put up and hopefully try to just decompress, forget about the craziness of today, and have a good time with our friends, have a good dinner, because we got to get up early in the morning and try to get this trip, in spite of everything, started off on the right foot. So if there's one piece of advice I could give you guys when it comes to planning for a big cross-country move like this, expect the unexpected. Like, no matter what you do, like, no matter how much you plan ahead, you think things through, how many binders you put together, like, there's always gonna be stuff you forget, and there's always gonna be stuff that goes wrong. Oh yeah, like yesterday I dropped my wallet in the ditch in the middle of the rain.
It was like downpouring.
You know, stuff happens, but you get through it. You plan ahead, you do the best you can, but just expect sometimes stuff goes sideways. And don't be like me and let yourself get so wrapped around the axle on it that it just messes up your whole day. Because I kind of lost myself a little bit earlier today and had to kind of get recentered. Just know that it's part of it. It's part of the deal. It comes along with the whole deal, and just try to enjoy it. I'm still hoping that with the kids and everything, we can have a good trip. Everybody can have some fun, and really looking forward to what's on the other side. So don't take life too seriously. And try to laugh, even when things like today, when things go wrong and things get messed up. You know, nobody's hurt, everybody's good, so you can laugh and you can move forward from it. Isn't that right?
I did have a folder.
Oh. My sister looked our family when
No! Bye! Goodbye, Nathan! Bye!
This is it. Hitting the road.